So for the first entry into the documentation series, it's going to be about how the trace system works and how to easily modify the trace system. So the trace system works by creating a beginning trace above the character, which is an offset you can change, and it creates a line out. The line has a multiplier for it to create an angle. So like if you want to be the end of the line to be 3 times the height of the character, you can angle up the line well above the character. And what this allows you to do is say if the character is near a wall, or like say if the ground is near them, they will be able to, just like in real life, see above the horizon of the ground by a certain margin. So they'll be able to see characters above them while also creating a fog of war system that works with like a 3D space. So if they get too close to, say, like a hill, they won't be able to see above the hill, but they can at least see to the horizon. And that is how the system works, and you can change that based on the multipliers. And what I mean by that is if you go to blueprints, and then you go to units, and then go to squad master, because that's where it is right now. The trace height is where the height starts, that's above the character. And then the trace multiplier is where you want the trace height to be at the end of its trace. So that's, the higher it is, the steeper the angle. I have all the default values based on what I would want my game to have for basic human characters in the first place. Then you have trace number. So what happens is that there is amount of traces that goes around in a circle, creating a higher resolution the more traces you have for the character. The problem with more traces is it creates a more demand for performance. But you don't need that many traces to be able to get a pretty good feeling system. So what I mean by that is like 32 is my sweet spot. It's quite a few for a single squad, and so you can use it for multiple things, for like interactions, detection, like pretty much anything you want. Like a person, say like if it's a first person shooter, you have a constant trace going out the front of your character so you can interact with objects like doors and like other characters and stuff. This is the same concept, except it works for so many things in the world of the real-time strategy game. So you can use it for unit interaction, you can use it for line of sight, which is used for, and for detection, seeing if a character is through an object that you can't shoot through, so you're not going to engage. Like, you can expand and build upon the system that is already in place just through the traces that are already available to you, just like you can through a character's trace in a first-person shooter. Next, we are going to go and change how the units work. So we can just, I've already mentioned in a previous video that you can alter the character's model and skeleton and everything. Like, as long as you have the right names for the right like holders, so like weapon holder, you can want that same name, so then it works with the blueprints correctly, and you can spawn whatever you want in that character's hands. So that's all self-explanatory. You're already going to need to know about that system in the first place to be able to work on it. But I'm going to show you my specific system and the values that you can change easily for the character. So like this visibility timer tells you how long something will be visible after you've detected it, so you can get out of its range, and it will count down until you come back into range. So say you lose sight of something, you'll be able to see it for 0.4 seconds. Then you have other things like ability cooldown timer. So the timer is for how long it takes for the ability to come back up for the character to use. And then you have the health of the character. And then you have things like the weapon, which you can go to the weapon by going to blueprints, go to weapons, weapon master, and you can change a lot of different things, like about the accuracy of the weapon, the multiplier for it, which is currently 1 to make it easier to understand. And then you tell what projectile you want. The projectile is modular as well. It will tell its own properties to whatever it's hitting. So, like I keep trying to stress, the system is fully modular, meant to be able to just switch things in and out depending on what character you want, what they're firing. Like, everything. And then you can also change the fire rate. And then, like I was saying about the projectile, you go to weapons, projectile master. You can say how much a projectile hits for. You can modify flight time and say if it's like there's a decay on the damage over time. Like there are so many different things you can do with the system. And I know I'm trying to like sell my own system to people, but the system is meant for a full product, and because it was actually meant for my product. I was actually going to make this system for me, but I decided that because I was looking for systems like this online, I couldn't find anybody that did something like this. So when I made it, I decided to make it for everybody. But once again, the system's fully modular. You can change the properties of each object, and it works as a master. So if I want to create another projectile, literally just duplicate the object, and it'll be under that class. And that's about it. But thanks for listening. Have a wonderful day, and happy holidays. It's about to be Christmas.